over his past 20 games, and you turn it into 163 games. Matt Olson is hitting at a 41 home run pace, okay, at a 106 RBI pace. Now, you take a 271 batting average, 41 homers, and 106 RBIs out of your first baseman, you bet your sweet Bippy you would, okay? I'm not, obviously, he's missed too much time to hit you 41 homers this year. But point is, he's at 12 now. I think he gets you 30. And I think his 235 goes up to a 250. That's my point, guys. Okay? So you talk about taking these small sample sizes and capitalizing on them, okay? That's what this game is. That's what fantasy baseball is all about, okay? So there you go. I'm at 7:45. I do want to talk about some waiver wire guys. I have some news and notes, but I'm going to go way over if I do that. I have some all-star break notes. I'm going to go way over if I do that. I will say it's interesting kind of talking about some of these guys. Let's talk real quickly about left outs, okay? So we're at the primary stage. Catchers. Yeah, Chirinos, McCann, Sanchez in the American League, Contreras, Grandal, McCann in the National League. Those are all fine and dandy. How about Christian Vasquez? 291, 10 homers, and 28 RBIs. This is a guy who, is really being overlooked in terms of catching in the American League. Another guy is Mitch Garver at 294 with 11 homers, 27 runs, and 28 RBIs is certainly deserving of some discussion in the All-Star voting. But this is still Lenny. I know you talked about it being much more diplomatic, if you will, this year, but it's still very much a popularity contest, okay? So at first base, let's talk about who's left out. I need to move quickly because I got a lot to talk about yet. You got Crone, you got Santana, you got Vogt, all very deserving. You got Bell, you got Freeman, and you got Rizzo. Again, man, he's got what a position, right? But I'll challenge you with a Pete Alonso at 280. 27 homers, 51 runs, and 61 BIs. Okay? This is a guy, how this guy's not being talked about as an all-star is flipping and ridiculous, okay? And then Encarnacion, how about Edwing? 228, yeah, the average is a little, but he leads the American League in homers. 23 homers, 53 runs, and 53 RBIs. You look for an uptick in New York. You gotta love Edwing in New York. I know I do. Hell, I'm not even a Yankees fan, so it'll just be fun to watch him with those other guys. So those are the two guys I took away as being left out at first base. Because I'm fantasy minded, I want to move over to third base. Let's talk about Bregman, Dozier, and Urshela. Certainly, it's good to see Urshela get mentioned. Come back to that, and then of course Arenado, Bryant, and Donaldson. Donaldson, I think, maybe is on there in error. Let's talk about snubs. Let's talk about Anthony Rendon at 310, 17 homers, 57 runs, and 53 RBIs. Why this guy isn't on this ballot is an absolute debacle, okay? Everyone sees it. Just look at the stats. But the guy we're not talking about who needs to be mentioned is Eduardo Escobar. 282 with 17 homers, 51 runs, and 59 RBIs. In Arizona? Come on, guys. Let's give this guy some love, right? Middle infield. Let's talk about it. Again, you got Altuve, La Stella, LeMahieu, all very deserving. Tommy La Stella kind of coming out of nowhere. Certainly deserving of the bid. I'm not arguing it whatsoever. And then you got Albies, you got Kettle Marte, and you got the Moose. What a great year with 22 homers. Very impressive first half. Playing second base really well. But I'm going to give you guys two guys that no one's really talking about much. How about Lourdes Gurriel? I know, I talk about him too damn much. He's at 289, guys. He's got 10 homers, 24 runs, and 26 RBIs. Guys, he was in AAA for a month. He's got 10 homers. Okay? Lourdes Gurriel needs to be discussed here. Okay? I know he's playing the outfield now. I know it's a technicality. The same with the next guy. How about Brandon Lau? Brandon Lau, who's been up all year long, is hitting 282 with 15. Oh, I totally agree, Kev. I totally agree. Rendon and Freeman are both totally underrated. Lau at 282, 15 homers, 38 runs, 46 RBIs out of Brandon Lau, and 4 stolen bases. They've asked him to play all over the field. Here's a guy who's just flat out not getting the respect he deserves. Brandon Lau is having a great year, and I look for that to continue. Okay, he's going to be a big part of that offense headed down the stretch. Shortstop. You got a Correa I mentioned earlier. You got Polanco, who's having a career year. You got Gleiber, who's having a great year. You got Javi, you got Story, and you got Swanson. I think, the one guy, well, I got 2 guys here. I remember Tim Anderson's hot start. He's kind of tailed off, hadn't he? But here's the thing. I'm going to argue with you that he still deserves to be in the All-Star game. He's hitting .313 still. 11 homers, 15 stolen bases. Guys, you're talking about a premium position. You're giving your team power and stolen bases. I don't know why he's not on here. Now, who you take off? Maybe Correa because he's been injured. I don't know. But to say Tim Anderson hasn't been one of the top 3 shortstops, I think is short-sighted, right? And the other guy, the guy that I know got voted off in the primaries is Xander Bogaerts. Xander Bogaerts has 59 runs. 59 runs already, guys. When you start to break this down, so you're, fantasy related, right? You start going category by category. You see a guy who has 59 runs. You pay attention to it and you target it because, it is a game changer when you add a guy like that to your lineup, okay? So 296, 14 home runs, 59 runs, and 51 RBIs. Guys, this guy doesn't steal bases as much, but he's 4 out of 5 tools. You just don't see it that much, okay? I got to be quick because I do got some free agents I want to talk about, but I do want to talk about the outfielders because I am prepared for it. So I'm just going to give a quick rundown of the finalists for the outfielder. It's a larger pool, but I do have a handful of guys who I think are getting snubbed, okay? So, Trout, Betts, Springer, Brantley, Gallo, Judge, Meadows, Reddick, Rosario. That's your American League guys, right? I mean, obviously, some of those guys are there on name. No offense. I look at Aaron Judge. I look at Mookie Betts. Others have earned their way. Springer comes to mind. Reddick comes to mind. The National League, you're looking at Kuna. You're looking at Bellinger. You're looking at Yelich. You're looking at Blackmon. The have-nots. Albert Almora. Jason Hayward. Nick Markakis. Jock Peterson. Kyle Schwarber. Guys, there's a clear line there between the haves and the have-nots as far as I'm concerned. Okay? So let's talk about some guys that got left off due to a popularity contest. And I need to do it fast because I have to get over these free agent guys with you because you guys need to hear them, okay? And these aren't by league. This is just guys that deserve to be on this list that aren't on there. How about Whit Merrifield, guys? He's hitting .303 with 11 homers, 56 runs, 40 RBIs, and 11 stolen bases. Guys, there's not many 5-star guys out there these days. Here's one of them. Why he's not on this list is a shame. Kevin, agreed? Trey Mancini, I know his team's terrible. He's hit .305, 17 homers, 51 runs, and 36 RBIs. Guys, he needs to be on here, right? I want to pause here. What do all these guys have in common as I'm reading? So I've gone through Merrifield, Mancini. Next was Shin-Soo Choo. Shin-Soo Choo's hitting .289 with 12 homers, 52 runs, 32 RBIs, and 6 stolen bases. Here's a guy who really is underrated, okay? Starling Marte. I know, Lenny, 8 minutes. Starling Marte at .279, 11 homers, 11 stolen bases, Started out cold, but has really picked it of late. And because he's in Pittsburgh, isn't getting noticed. Hunter Renfroe, 251, 23 home runs. 23 home runs, okay? Jorge Soler at 239 with 21 homers. Marcelo Zuna at 256 with 20 homers. And Juan Soto at 305 with 12 homers and 48 RBIs. So that's my take. Those guys need to be in the discussions. Lenny, are you coming on at 8 or are you not? I want to talk about some waiver wire, and I need to do it quickly because I think it's important. Guys, this time of year, it's usually very dry. There's not a whole lot out there. But due to some bad luck, if you will, there's some real talent out there that we need to capitalize on. Let me start first. Julio Urias, okay? Here's a guy, him and Ross Stripling both. I would say go out and look to see if he's there, if they're there. Urias, I'm going to speak to at 30% owned, is 3-2 with a 2.84 ERA, a 1.02 whip, 46 Ks and 44 innings pitched. He's also got 3 saves, okay? So if he's there, give him a chance. Rich Hill is injured. LA's pitching is, as I said, dominant. This guy's going to step right in and run with it, okay? Dakota Hudson. I talked about Dakota Hudson last week. I'm going to talk about him again because he keeps putting up good quality outings, right? So in the last month, Hudson's 3-0 with a 2.09 ERA, a 1.19 whip, and a 24 Ks to a 38.2 innings pitched. On the year, he's 6-3 with a 3.36 ERA. Okay? His whip on the year has gone down from 1.47 to 1.19 in the last month. I see market improvements there, okay? Here's the steal. Here's the cut and the jib of this whole hour. There's 2 guys out there that you have to go look at for different reasons. One, Arnie and I have been talking about Carlos Martinez for a month. He's 52% owned. He's 1-0 with 2 saves. His ERA is 3.0. He's got 14 Ks and 15 innings pitched and a 1.07 whip. Guys, Carlos Martinez is the Cardinals' SP1. I don't care what anybody says. The sooner Mike Shildt figures that out, the better off the Cardinals will be. They need Carlos Martinez at the beginning of that rotation, and it's going to happen. It's just a matter of time. Shildt is literally throwing every other solution at it until this guy comes out and says, gimme. Okay? The other guy's John Gant. Jordan Hicks is out for the year. John Gant is 7-0 with 3 saves, a 2.40 ERA, 37 Ks and 41.1 innings pitched, and a 0.87 whip. Now, I know he had a stinker the other night when it was announced that basically the job was his. But, shit happens. Pardon my language. Okay? 64% owned. You guys need to go out and make sure Gant is owned. 4 minutes left, and I got a bunch of guys to go through. I'm going to go through the important ones first. Liam Hendriks. 15% owned as of last night. Here's a guy who is now going to be the closer while Blake Trinan is out. They're surpassing Trevino and going to Hendriks. Both of them are own-worthy, but Hendriks is the sleeper to own, okay? Again, the big part of this podcast is predicated around the fact that Oakland is the team to watch out in the West. Not necessarily win the division, but as a difference maker, okay? Liam Hendriks is going to be a huge part of that, okay? So here's a guy you want to go, and at 15% owned, should be owned in a lot of your leagues. And if he's not, you should own him. Michael Lorenzen. Guys, Raisel Iglesias has turned into this ineffective closer all of a sudden. And Lorenzen's sitting there. Oh, Cha-Cha, I don't even know what you're talking about, and I don't want to know. Michael Lorenzen is the next up in Cincinnati, closer-wise, okay? So go and make sure he's there, Make sure he's, been taken. If he's not been picked up, pick him up. Because if Cincinnati